from Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jar. Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. For education, information, culture, entertainment, and overall wide variety of programs, tune in to Focus on Liberia, the best in Liberian diaspora television. We are focused on Liberia, from Patawi Falls to the Blue Lake of Bombing, from the Bella Forest in Bapolu to the Atlantic coastline in Buchanan, from Lake Piso in Cape Mount to the Putu and Tiempo mountain ranges of Ground Jide, from River Noah in Grand Cru County to Foya in Lofa, from the Firestone rubber plantation in Habel to the Port of Harper in Maryland, from Providence Island in Monrovia to Sacrepie in Nimba, from Sister City in Riverside to the Kilipo Range in River G, from the Gola Forest in northwest Liberia to the valleys of Jiripo in Sino County. We are focused on Liberia with the strong conviction to educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia, our glorious land of liberty.
Our country, sweet Mandela, our country, that God gave all this country. Fellow Liberian, that God gave all this country. We are Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this great edition of the closing argument.
Closing argument.
Excuse me. On point. Ladies and gentlemen, I will read to you a historic document real briefly. This document was put together. It is called a report of the Presidential Commission on National Reconstruction, presented to Dr. William R. Talbot, Jr., President of the Republic of Liberia, Monrovia, Liberia, June 12, 1979. And it says that this report of the Commission on National Reconstruction, following the civil disturbance of April 14, 1979, is being presented in two parts. Embodied in part one are the recommendations which the Commission requests the President of the Republic of Liberia to take action on with some urgency. Part two identifies issues which by their very nature require detailed and systemic study, equip and extend the durations of the Commission to enable the accomplishment of this phase of its undertaking. We read this to re-emphasize and re-educate and educate those who were not born and those who were too young to remember what happened on April 14, 1979. We are going to look at some of the conditions and recommendations made by this commission and some of the reasons why we were where we were in 1979. When the people decided to take the streets to register the displeasure with the state of the nation, the economy, they were met with brutal force. On April 15, 2026, the front page Africa carried an article on its front pages reporting on what happened April 14, 2026. This time, the title, the demand of that march was jobs and justice. Police face criticism over excessive force as tear gas. Tension erupt at Monrovia student protests. So demand release of comrades after delivering jobs and justice petition to the Embassy of the Republic. On the front page of the paper, when you juxtapose that picture with what transpired April 14, 1979, one would be hard-pressed not to ask the question, what has changed? Has anything changed? We were talking about human rights. They were talking about injustice, rampant corruption, nepotism, the suppression of the natives or the underprivileged. Has anything changed? In that Talbot government was one gentleman who is still on the scene. That was Joseph Boakai. And when the coup took place A new regime, PRC, came into being under President Doe. One person served in our government that is still on the scene. That's Major Joseph Boakai. Today, we are seeing history repeat itself. So we are going to do the week in review. And then our panelists will come on and they will dissect in their own view. And let me do the disclaimer here. Whatever we say, our panelists say here, are not the views of the management, the ownership of Focus on Liberia. It is our personal views and opinion. When Focus on Liberia has a position, it will be clearly in writing and published. Mr. Aliu Kamara, if you could mute, you will be doing fine. So here we are. Let me welcome our panelists here today. Mr. Joe Towell from Houston. Welcome to the show, Chief.
Yes, thanks. Thanks. Hi to my fellow panelists. Dr. Fidel, Mr. Gilman. Where is Valley? And hi to our fellow panelists. I'm glad to be here, and I look forward to being part of the discussion. And welcome back. Dude, we miss you.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Gaiman, how you doing? Mr. Dr. Booty, how you doing?
I'm good.
Let me go.
Valley, how you doing?
Let me go to Dr. Fidel. Dr. Fidel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. Great to be here.
Okay, let me go to Mr. Aliu Kamara. Today, are you Aliu Kamara or you Valley?
Mr. Gilman, thank you for having me. Glad to see everybody on here.
Excellent. We're happy to Dukley.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome to the show. Are you having dinner?
No, just having a fruit here. Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. It's a pleasure to be here. I look forward to the program.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor, share this show, get involved. Today, we are going to be talking about issues affecting Liberia. We are going to be talking about some attitudes and behavior that some of us define as indefensible. We will be talking about constitutional issues. We will be talking history. We will be taking ourselves back into time. And we are going to juxtapose the history and see whether there have been any change or significant change. This week, we covered the brutalization of students in the streets of Liberia by the Liberian police, just as they did April 14, 1979. We covered the breaking news. The House of Representatives have expelled Honorable Yeke Koluba. Prior to that, we saw in the newspaper, on the front pages of the papers in Liberia and online, that the Supreme Court has halted the House probe into Yeke Koluba expulsion, citing the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Sergeant of Arms at the Supreme Court or Temple of Justice. We also heard from Liberian Senator Connie and Amara Connie, who said expulsion of Representative Koluba undermines our constitutional due process of law. In so doing, we also heard from Nimba County, one of Nimba County's astute sons. Tai Wombe proposes that we should dissolve the Liberian legislature. He called for radical reform after the expulsion of Koluba. He says there is no such thing as the legislature. It has served nothing. It served no purpose. It is basically the mouthpiece of the president. The president gets what he wants. If the president sentences you to death, that's what it is. If he wants you out, that's what it is. So he is saying they are getting paid absolutely for nothing. And he says here, according to Tai Wombe, the decision within the country increasingly reflect the will of the president rather than the independent institutions and the processes. He asserted that if the president wants a lawmaker removed, that outcome is achieved. And if the president desires changes in leadership or action against any individual or institution, those decisions are carried out without resistance from the legislature. Representative Tai Wombe said this reality raises serious concern about the role of the legislature, which he described as being reduced to a body that merely approves and legitimizes decisions already made elsewhere. He suggested that the relevance of the legislature itself should be reconsidered, going as far as proposing that it may need to be dissolved entirely if it continues to function without independence. Ladies and gentlemen, your thoughts on the prevailing issues in the Republic of Liberia. I will begin with first hour. Mr. Tao, several issues. Where do you want to begin? Do you want to begin at the legislature? Do you want to begin at the Supreme Court? But in the meantime, let's go to how it is laid out here to make it easier for us. Yeke Koluba expelled from the Liberian House of Representatives. That's the overall theme for the day. Was this a legitimate proceeding? Due process? Supreme Court says order was breached. Your take on where we have it. You want to start with the Supreme Court? You want to start with the aftermath of political parties? I mean, it's a buffet. You can start from anywhere. You would never go wrong.
So look, this is what I would say. I don't think I'm the first person that ever said it, but on point, I've been saying it before Tai Wombe tried to say that. I have been saying that the legislature serves no purpose, that it should be dissolved. And if
I've said it as well.
Yeah. So Tai Wombe is not saying it from the position that me and you were saying it. He is saying it that the executive should take their hands off so that they can railroad the country, right? Because they're all stealing. But what's happening, the executive is powerful with the money and approving stuff, is trying to kind of micromanage them, and that is where his frustration is coming from. So me and you, when we say it, it's not the same as Tai Wombe, right? We are saying that the legislature is useless to the country and it's only just taken from the country and it should be dissolved. He is saying it should be dissolved because the president is not allowing them to carry out their useless function. Pretty much that they care about just sharing money and signing onto concession without the executive influence or interference. So that is how you say it. But look, when it comes to the Yeke Koluba stuff, this is what I would say though. I really don't know what to think. And this is why. Whether it is right or wrong, we pick and choose. The legislature itself is dishonorable. Look at how they act. Look at how they conduct themselves. The Supreme Court itself is weakened. In my opinion, and based on what transpired, the Supreme Court will go ahead and issue a judgment on something, and the president or nobody listened to them. They don't do anything. And the areas that they're supposed to do something, they do nothing. But if for them to break their own law and violate their own stuff by arresting somebody, the Supreme Court is an appellate court, they went ahead and actually did trial and put somebody in jail. And when we said it here that that was wrong legally, that he was not accorded due process because the Supreme Court was the judge, jury, and then everything else. Yeah, we were told that, oh, no. Yeah, whether it's against it, the guy just need to be removed. Now we come to this now. It's the same thing. Now we want to now be legal. And no, it's the same thing. So you see how bad it is. If we don't allow this very law and the institution to function the way they're supposed to function. So the Supreme Court is in no position. None of them are in a position. They compromise themselves. Because when the guy's mom is insulted, instead of him as an individual going to follow the legal process that he is supposed to actually oversee in the nation to sue this guy in whether it is in a civil court or if you think a crime was committed, they didn't do that. They forced him in there. They went and sentenced him. So what mouth will the Supreme Court have? What leverage do they have now for them to say what? What are they going to say to the president now that they didn't say when they were removing CBS governor, when they were removing all the 10 new people, and the executive didn't listen to them? What did they do? Nothing. So what are they going to do here? Yeke is removed, and I think he's not coming back. Whether it is right, legal, or not, for me, I'm really not going to get into that because there is nothing that is working in Liberia. It seems like it becomes legal when that is in our favor, and that is illegal if it is not in our favor. It seems like that is how it's going,
Thank you.
So, but it's sad that these kind of people should be the one that is at the helm of government and trying to run a nation.
Thank you very much. Let me welcome Victor Nangwe. I know you don't like that shellacking that the 76ers just take at the hands of the Celtics, but it's all right. Don't go into it. I know you heard it. Welcome to the show.
Don't even go there. Don't go
there. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you guys. Yes, my Sixers went down really bad. Over 30 points lost to the Celtics. There's something about this Boston Green, not the Grinch, the little ones, Christmas that we can't seem to get past, but it's only game one. We got 6 more games to go, but it's good to be with you guys.
Great. Dr. Booty, you're welcome to the buffet. You can start with the salad, or you can go straight to the real meal. You can do something in between like color and pepper and all that. So you can start from anywhere. Your take.
Yeah, I don't like to spoil my appetite with all that starter stuff. I would leave those for Mr. Tao because he's the one eating healthy and stuff like that. So yeah.
So you can start with the soup. It's okay.
Oh no, I'm going straight for the GB itself. Mr. Nande know what I'm talking about. So no, look.
I do.
I know Mr. Gaiman skipped over it and let me put it out there first before he because he already picked on Mr. Nangbe. My Arsenal lost today as well, so I wasn't in a very good mood. I wasn't going to come on today, but I said, "No,
listen, my Chelsea lost yesterday. That's why I didn't say anything.
You didn't want to say anything.
My Chelsea lost. I didn't say anything.
Let me say my own thing. Yes, I'm in a very
let him not express his hurt. Don't join your hurt with his hurt.
I'm in a very foul mood.
And you hear they say misery love company. I'm miserable too, so.
Yeah. So, Mr. Nangwe, we are in the same company, right? But at the end of the day, look, this, we've been, in the sense I was invited to join this show back in 2024. We've all been saying the same things when we started to observe the president of Liberia undermine the rule of law. I think it started with setting up a committee, an asset recovery team. And most of us on here remember Mr. Nangbe, Mr. Tao, We had our young brother Elvis with us at the time. Said, "Well, why do we have the Ministry of Justice, right? Why do we have LACC? Why are we duplicating functions that are already established and codified in law, right?" That went quiet after some time because there was nothing good coming out of it. He started to try and remove people with tenure positions, and again, the Supreme Court tried as best as they could, and he went around it. The other day I was reflecting, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, Emma Glasgow, who resigned from the fishery, her investigation has concluded within a few months. These guys from LTA, since 2024, their investigation is still ongoing. We still don't know, because for them, unlike the bank governor and unlike Glasgow, who step aside, these guys have not stepped aside. So until you step aside, your investigation doesn't end, right? I'm not surprised that these guys would do what they're doing, right? In terms of ignoring what the Supreme Court said. Mr. Tao already touched on that, so I'm not going to go in there because the Supreme Court is acting illegally as well. I don't think we should get rid of the entire legislature. I think the Senate for me needs to go. I think salaries in the House of Representatives need to be reduced significantly. And I think the threshold for expelling someone from the legislature should be higher than 2/3. Right? I think we should skip this 2/3 thing and go for 90%. If 90% of your peers don't want you there, then they definitely don't want you there, right? But I think 2/3 is still for me a low bar, because I think we need to make it. Because what I see here, these guys, look, I'm not a fan of the former Honorable Yeke Koluba. I'm not a fan of his. Not because he's a horrible person, not because I think he does anything wrong. I think his approach is something that I wouldn't be a fan of. But he's a voice. He's a voice of District 10 in Montserrat County. He's been speaking like this when President Weah was president, and they re-elected him. So clearly the people of District 10 prefers this way of talking. They prefer this way of representation. This is their preference, right?
Yeah.
You cannot disenfranchise a group of people simply because, and again, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently it is because he said something about the dispute at the border with the Republic of Guinea. Now, if that is the reason, I'm just going to try something, right? The Rock of Gibraltar belongs to Spain. Okay, it's still that the fact that I said that doesn't mean that Spain will just automatically take the Rock of Gibraltar. It still belongs to the British government. The fact that I sit here as someone who lives in Britain and say, look, this part of Britain belongs to Spain, and doesn't mean that Spain will just go and take it, right? So the fact that people who are supposed to be smarter to understand how laws work, that these things have a process in place. Spain can just go take land because somebody in Britain say, "Oh, you must take." No, that's not how it works, right? And I hope, and I'll end on this because I know others want to make points on this as well, and I'm sure I'll get a chance later on as well. But I hope, because I was reading the Constitution, I made a point, even though I was feeling bad as a given, but I said, let me read the Constitution at least so I can go there and be looking at, let's look at that buffon. I read the Constitution, and from what I read, from what I read, there is nothing stopping Yeke from running for re-election in the by-election. There's nothing stopping him. And I hope he does, right? Because it would just be a waste of our time and our resources. We don't have money. You're already stealing all the money in these high salaries and grant envelopes you're collecting. Then you take 400,000 and you go run by-election just for some ego trip, right? Yeah. Because the president is feeling himself and decides to manipulate stuff. Again, Mr. Tao mentioned, not last week, but I think 2 weeks ago, that there is something more nefarious going on here. That these guys and President Barker's hand, I think it was Mr. Tao that mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, that President Barker's hands are in it, and we need an investigation to understand what is going on there that got the Guineans so irate, right? Because the Guineans have been there for years. Like Mr. Tao said, these are chiefs that just live across from each other, right? These are the borders, the townships and whatever that have been together until the French and the Liberian government decided to split them apart. So what is Barker trying to hide that he's wanting to get rid of Yeke Koluba? Because we don't have an investigation into what went on to provoke the Guineans. There's a provocation here, right? From what we're hearing, there was a provocation and why the Guinean got angry. So what has gone on there? That's what the president should be focused on, instead of trying to silence voices that are trying to stand up to him. I'm not surprised, and that's where I would end, because this is something that has been building up, and I wouldn't be listen. I think for all of us, we need to be very concerned, right? George Weah, for all of the things we can say about him, he lost an election, he walked away. The way this president is acting, I'm not sure if he loses the election in 2029, whether he wouldn't try to manipulate.
Excellent. Welcome to the show, guys. Let me go to Mr. Dukley. Mr. Dukley, like I say, here we go. You can choose to start from anywhere because there's no hate, no tears. So anyway you attack it, you win.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gaiman. You know, this saga that is unfolding again, you know, is the continuation of a very bad precedent that was set by the CDC government when they illegally removed Justice Cabinet from the Supreme Court. And you see, we are going to get to a point where the laws are just going to be on the books for the purpose of being on the books, and that's it. They will have no relevance. That's the path that we are just embarking on. Trust me. This is the sign of bad governance, because you see, Article 65 of our Constitution empowers the courts, you know, as an institution, as a co-equal branch of the other two. And Article 66, I believe, gives the Supreme Court the final say. So we have taken the first step to reduce the Supreme Court to nothing by now following our own laws. And you know, I've said on this platform and other places multiple times, as much as we like to present ourselves as a country of laws, we are a country of men and women. Period. We don't follow our own laws. You know, so when it comes to Yeke Koluba, my question is always, what law did he break? Nobody has, I mean, I'm yet to hear from anyone to say what law Yeke Koluba broke by saying that he believes the land in dispute belongs to Guinea. That's his opinion. I mean, let's assume for the sake of argument, what if it turns out that what he said is true? Then what? What if? I mean, I'm just saying here, for the sake of this argument. So no one has yet to come, no one has said from the thing that I've seen, what I have read, nobody has clearly articulated what law Yeke Koluba broke. Besides that, he was not accorded due process at all. You know, you hear people say what is it? I think it's Article 33 of the Constitution gives each of the each chamber the right to determine their own internal rules. But it doesn't matter what rule they come up with; those rules have to be within the confine of the Constitution. They're not going to make new rules outside. So whatever internal rules they have in the House or in the Senate, those rules must conform with the Constitution. So, I mean, again, I'm really glad that Dr. Budi said that he read the Constitution, and there's nowhere in there that says Yeke Koluba cannot run for this by-election. What if he does and he wins again? You know, I mean, look, what you saw unfolding here, people they have this animus feelings against Yeke Koluba. They don't like him, and so they are now using their power to get rid of him simply because they don't like him. They don't like the way he talks. But Dr. Budi made a very salient point here when he said he was elected twice. That means he has a backing of his district. If they elected him twice, that means what he does is what they like. They like the way he does his thing. They like the way he talks. They like the way he presents himself. If not, why would they vote him in twice? So now we have disenfranchised his constituent that voted for him. So again, it comes back to where we started. We are eroding our justice system to a point where we are going to be a complete lawless nation. Because if everything is done by the whim of whoever is in charge, the head of state or whatever, then I don't see us. It's not a sustainable path when we treat our laws, our codes, our system like this. I'm not a fan of Yeke Koluba, but for the sake of fairness, for the sake of justice, why did you not give him the chance to defend himself? Now, with that said, if actually we are following our laws, the Supreme Court has the opportunity to stop this whole thing from happening, because there's a state order that have been that have been imposed pending the conference with the Supreme Court, and the justice in chamber, Yusuf Kabas, has now summoned them to a conference. And so, as we know, based on Article 66, whatever Supreme Court, whatever decision Supreme Court comes up with is binding. I'm here to say, I would be very interested to see what happens. But this is not a good sign for us. This doesn't encourage investors to come into our country. It is just, no matter how you look at it, it's just bad. It's bad. And people have allowed themselves, by their political affiliation, it seems like nobody seems to realize if you're a Unity Party partisan, this is all okay, because it's Unity Party that is doing it and you're a Unity Party partisan. But this is not right. This is not right. Look, the dispute between Guinea and Liberia, even when the president went to Guinea, what did he say to the Liberian people? Do we even know where things stand right now? But besides that, look, when two nations have dispute with their borders, there are international mechanism that settle these disputes.
Oh, I got into.
So I mean, like I said, Yoko Koluba is just being scapegoated. Is being scapegoated by these good for nothing legislators who are just overusing their power to get rid of someone that they don't like. But legally, I don't think they have any legal standing for doing what they did.
Thank you. Let me go to Valley. Valley here. The Supreme Court held the House probe into Yeke Koluba's potential suspension. This was done on the 15th of April. The Supreme Court cited the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Sergeant at Arms to a conference. Despite the Supreme Court's intervention, the House went and assembled, and they said they have expelled the Speaker. Your take on the power of the Supreme Court vis-a-vis...
I got you, Mr. Gilman. I got you.
Vis-a-vis the House.
Yeah, you're rolling now. But here's the thing. I want to remind you guys of something, and a lot of us here, I wouldn't say a lot of us, but I know Victor or Joseph will relate, because the rest of the other guys are the elites. Back in the village, when it was April, I know sun still shines in Monrovia, but if you come from the forest areas, you will know that we're having serious torrential rain at this point in time. And usually, the creeks, most of our farms always have creeks that we have to jump over. Remember this. If you ever go back to the village, you elite guys, Gilman, Booty, all of you, if you ever go to the village and see that the stream has overflowed, because of the rain. Don't force it. You know what you do? You turn around, you go back. Overnight, if it doesn't rain, the water will run down. You can still go back the next day and cross the stream. You understand what I'm saying? They say one of the wise can actually excel. I want to say bravo to our judicial system. Mr. Gimmon, did you know that as we speak, the National Elections Commission have been evicted from their property because the court released an order on a government institution to vacate or to be vacated, and they were removed by the law. The law is in force. The law is not only active when it's one-sided. Justice also includes someone to be acquitted. Let me say acquitted. Justice also includes people being acquitted. Justice includes people being convicted. It doesn't mean that you have to be convicted before it becomes justice. Now, let's come to your issue now that I've laid that little premise. The Capitol building have their own rules. In fact, they made it clear on Friday.
Listen, my question is not about the Supreme Court halts or proceeding.
But I'm coming.
Invited them to court. That
You're not going to like this today, but wait for me.
No, listen, that stops everything. It has nothing to do with whether you have a own rule or not.
You're only regurgitating. And let me learn what I'm saying here. What I'm telling you is, on Friday, the House of Legislature made it known, representatives, made it known that as far as the chief office was concerned, they received no such communication. They did not receive it. All right? So what do you want them to do? If they didn't receive it, they had to go ahead with their process. And never mind, they will still go back to the Supreme Court on Monday and sit down there, but your man is Vamu.
Welcome. Let me welcome Elvis. It's been a while.
I know it's been a while. I have to join you guys today, but thank you for having me, Mr. Gibbon. And hello to the other panelists.
Great. Let me go to
Yeah, I
Victor.
tell you what, I call people name again. The other time I called Mr. Nangbe Ni here, Pierre. Today I call Elvis Ni here, Pierre too.
Good. Then keep calling Jesus Christ so he can appear. Okay, guys. Victor, here we have the ruling of the Supreme Court. I have here a photograph of the actual reading that was delivered to the House. The gentleman who signed for it was in the House. He said he's a computer engineer, whatever it is, but it was delivered. Operator. They just confirmed that yes, it was delivered, it was received, it was signed for.
So the computer operator.
Listen, and in addition to that, it was on the news. It was in every newspaper. It was on front page of every paper. So there's no way that anybody in the world would say we didn't receive it, we never heard of it. Victor Namwe, at this rate, tell us about the presence or absence of the Supreme Court or the validity of the Supreme Court in our nation when they make rules and it is ignored.
Well, look, this is the gangster style operation that the regime speaker is conducting here. They know they got a rate. We all seen the rate. It was delivered. The person who signed for it, first name begins with a T and middle name A, Tote. Signed for it, received it at 1:53 p.m.
Yeah.
On the 16th of April, 10:53. That's like in the middle of the day. So they're playing, gangster tactics here, runaway, kangaroo court that they conducted here. Even then, the whole thing is falling apart. They forged people's signatures. A lot of people have come out to say they didn't sign this resolution, so they may not even have the 49. Even then, the Constitution of Liberia, yes, Article 38 gives them the power to make their rules, but Article 20 also tells them they are compelled to make sure that the rules comply with the Constitution and due process
Yeah.
This is what it. Yeke Koluba was not given due process. He was never given the evidence of his allegations against him. His lawyers went there with him. They threw the lawyers out.
Yeah.
Refused to give him due process. Refused to inform him why he was being charged.
Yeah.
So in the face of all of this, Nabokun is marching around like he's done something great. I am almost certain the Supreme Court is going to reverse this
Okay.
because at the end of the day, the Supreme Court is the final arbiter
Yeah.
just in the country. They will have to interpret what has happened, but the fact is they did receive the rate and they decided to ignore it and remove Yeke. And I want this to be very clear, just like we said again before during the removal of Kofa. This is nothing to do with Yeke. It is about protecting our democracy. The due process is one of the major tenets
Yep.
of our democratic process. You take someone to court, they must be given due process. You must give them the opportunity of discovery. You got to tell them what it is they're guilty of, give them the evidence, let them review it, and prepare themselves to. It's not a got you or tripping up kind of thing that we're talking about. You give them the opportunity to prepare their defense.
Yep.
Tell them what they're guilty of, give them time to come in and defend themselves. That was not done with Yeke Koluba. And so I am almost certain come tomorrow, I'm sure we'll begin to hear from the Supreme Court that this whole thing will be reversed. It's a flap. It's a waste of our time.
Yeah.
The $1.2 million that is being reported that they spent at bribing each of these people $25,000. That money is another $1.2 million of the taxpayers' money that has been wasted by this Boaka government that can't seem to get anything right. They can't seem to get a yellow machines right. They can't seem to get appointments right. They can't seem to explain anything. They can't seem to get the border situation right. But they're in a hurry to remove Yeke Koluba. What is Yeke Koluba in the grand scheme of things that our people are experiencing in the country? Yeke removal is the priority of the people right now in Liberia? I don't think so. So this is a government that has failed. They're out of ideas. They don't know how to move forward. They're looking for distraction. And Yeke, unfortunately, is one of the scapegoats they're using, to rally our people. But even at that, they're failing on it. And so, as I give it back to you, there are a lot of things that they did here that give Yeke an opportunity to challenge what they did to him. They don't have the signatures. They lie on people. Some of the people didn't sign. They lie on them.
What is
And they
that
say,
valid for?
I mean, don't interrupt me, please. I didn't interrupt you. No, y'all lie on people. Let me say it again. And don't interrupt me. Y'all lie on people. People didn't sign the paper. You didn't sign the paper. They didn't sign the paper. They didn't sign the paper. So you don't have the 49. That's one.
Okay.
Two, Yeke was not given due process. It is clear. You never informed the man of his charges. You never give him opportunity to review and prepare for the charges. He came with legal counsel. You threw him out. So, Jerome, that is my take on that. I believe this whole thing will be reversed.
Okay.
Elvis, welcome back to the show. We are on the expulsion of Yeke Koluba. According to Mariah Yakula Kwakwa, she said the House wrote Honorable Yeke Koluba asking him to come to a hearing and he should bring his legal team. He should come with his lawyer. He did just that. And the lawyer came and said, this is an hour of discovery. What is it that our client have been charged with? We need to get the discovery so we can prepare defense. And they told her, you can't speak in our chamber. You need to speak in the ear of your client, and then your client regurgitated what you said. So she said, well, that's not how the legal process works. And they decided to ask to leave. So in addition to that, the Supreme Court issued a stay order. It was announced in the newspapers. It was on radio. It was published. The judicial reporters in the legislative body all were present. They were there. And here you are. The Supreme Court is ignored. They didn't give the man due process. They impeached and removed it in one swoop. Your take?
Yeah, thank you again, Mr. Gilman. Look, when Yeke used to say that, Buffer Chimera had one coconut and one York lock in his grip, he didn't think it was necessary to try to impeach him. When he said all the, egregious things about the president, even when Darius Dillon threatened president, we had to throw rocks at his envoy to threaten violence against the city president. They didn't see it fit to, to remove him. We have to be tolerant, right? And the members of the House should have already taken everything into account, all the facts into account, and voted on their conscience. You have to bribe people, and people have to, we accept that money. What does it say about us? Are we just a greedy people? Are we a people that like moral integrity, that we can do simple things without being bribed? So for me, I think the court, like Mr. Namwe said, will probably reverse this action, but it's reminiscent of what happened with the Fonati Kofa case, because I think the House would delay it. They would drag their foot. Yeke will be out of Parliament for months upon months, and most likely they'll probably not reinstate him, even going against the order of the Supreme Court. And that's how Namwe Kun is. He's a regime speaker. The end justifies any means. He's going to do anything he wants to do, and then face the consequences later. And the president is going to wash his hands clean, clean of it, like what he did with the Copa case. Now he's saying he's not in the legislature, so whatever happens, that he's not involved. That's the thing, they'll handle it. He's not going to put pressure on anybody. He's not going to call the two, groups to try to settle things because it works in his favor. And I say this, look, as an old man, you pass the stage where your feelings to be getting hurt. Really, you're closer to death than you are, to anything else. So to be looking for vendetta, to try to get Yeke back because he said some disparaging things about you. He said worse about George Weah. Worse things he said about George Weah and his mother and his family and his wife. You know, and President Boyka seemed to have his hands on this case, and it's pretty much inviting, or threatening Yeke to pretty much ruin his life and ruin his political career. And I would say this before I even get to my last statement. Yeke was wrong for saying what he said. And to Dr. Booty's point, when he made a statement that if he said Gibraltar belonged to Spain, it's inconsequential. Respectfully, you're a doctor, you're a learned man, you're a significant person, but in the grand scheme of British politics, you're a nobody. So nobody is going to take you seriously because you made that utterance. If you went in the British Parliament and you stood there and you're a member of Parliament and you made that statement, especially when Spain is maybe on the land of Gibraltar, reclaiming it that it belongs to them, and you say that, actions would probably be different and reactions would probably be different to what you said. So my point here is that what Yeke said was out of order. You shouldn't have said it. It was, I won't say borderline seditious, but certainly it wasn't in the interest of the Liberian, people in the Liberian state as a whole. And as a lawmaker, you took an oath to protect and uphold the Constitution. I think what he said was unbecoming of a lawmaker. More egregious because it's not domestic; it was an international relationship, a relation that had to do with our land integrity and our territorial integrity. So what he said was wrong. But then again, these
Let the man land.
these guys who seem to be in a hurry to get their way done by hook or by crook couldn't foster the semblance of a decent try, the semblance of giving him due process. Even if you have the votes in the bag, do things the right way because these guys can remove anybody by hook or by crook, but you have to go through the process appropriately. If you don't do that, you give this person a leeway. You even give the international community a reason to censure you, a reason to look down on your government, or a reason to take away your legitimacy. These guys are just amateur. They don't know how to do things the right way. When you have more professional crooks like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, when she had a government there, she did a lot of shady things, but she did it, and it was hard for the common man to see some of the things that was going on in her government. But James Coon, he's a thug, he's a ruthless individual who thinks that he can do anything he wants to do and nothing will come out of it. He's a law unto himself. The Supreme Court law, he's not going to respect it. And the president is going to wash his hands clean of it, and nothing is really going to come out of it. And yet he's going to be stuck there trying to fight to be reinstated. And I don't think Coon and his acolytes are going to let him back in the house. Thank you.
Great. Let me go to Mr.
Mr.
Tao.
Given, 1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay, go
Mr.
ahead.
Given, 1 minute.
Go ahead.
I want to pledge on here. If Yeke goes back to that place as a representative in this term, I give $500 to Focus on Liberia, or wire straight to the Cash App. You can do go back there. The place that they're talking about, both in Kwale and the Foyasa belongs to Liberia. For a lawmaker to say belongs to Guinea, that lawmaker said, I think he's supposed to be going to court.
That's right. He's supposed to be going to court.
Can I have 30 seconds?
I agree with your last statement. That is the whole point of it.
That's what we are talking about. Yeah, go ahead, Dr.
Go
ahead,
Dr. Moody.
Well, the statement by my brother, Mr. Kamara, tells us everything we need to know about him, right? So you have $500 sitting down that you can give to Focus on Liberia to do good, but you're not going to give it to them because you're going to wait to see what a Yeka gets it. So it tells us everything about the kind of mindset that you have as an individual.
That's fine.
Mr.
The man he's a regime panelist.
Mr. Tao, Liberia from its inception, 1822, everything has been done in reverse. Now that the house are illegally removed, Yeka Koluba, they have now forwarded him to the Justice Department to file treason charges against him. And the objective here is
lock him up.
They are now going to have a kangaroo court to find him guilty, make him a felon, thus disqualify him for running for office. And this is what we are seeing transparent here. Go ahead. Instead of try him first and remove him, they remove him and then finding some kind of justification to substantiate or legitimize the illegal act they did.
Yeah, but first, I will actually ask the question for a lawmaker to have an opinion on anything. Because I really didn't discuss that earlier. I was just looking at the kind of mess that all branches of government, the way they're functioning. But what the Yeket actually said that was really a crime. He gave.
You want me to answer you?
No,
it's
rhetorical.
You can't answer him because you don't have no answer for it. Here's a man that when there is a legal stuff going, you're already saying that he would never go back in there. That's the kind of gangster behavior that is associated with the government that you exhibit.
A gangster.
Yeah, the man child soldier there, one in government and end on FOL. That is what happened. You see, that's how they go.
He's a regime panelist.
That's a major leap. Remember, he equally body.
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, the Madigo Defense Force.
Yeah, I saw him, but it's really because I hear what Elvis said. But all that will happen will just be condemnation, but it's not enough for impeachment because really there is no crime. All they're going to say is that for your position, you shouldn't say something like this unless you have something. And then what you will hear is that he might issue a statement to retract or to say, to clarify that he really didn't mean it that way. That is what you will hear. We see it here all the time in the US and other places. So it has nothing to do. So he didn't commit no crime. But look at what happened. This is what I'm saying. The Supreme Court itself have no moral ground in a legal way or any. Because here's the same Supreme Court that refused to follow the very law and just grab somebody and brought them to the Supreme Court and try them when no trial can take place there and put them in jail for 6 months. So now the same Supreme Court is going to be talking about rule of law. So this is the mess that we have.
Don't forget, Mr. Tao, is for a crime that the maximum sentence is 30 days, right?
Yeah, that they put him in. But and if that, and then that's maximum 30 days, that's 1, 2. It should have taken place in a court, not at the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice should have hired a lawyer, sue this guy in a civil court or criminal court if he thought there was a crime, so that due process can take place. So the Supreme Court itself don't follow due process. We just saw that a couple of months ago. So now what ground would the Supreme Court have to say that should be a state
hard to be certified? Nothing is certified.
Listen, Kamara, when you were talking about anything.
We are pointing out all of the ways in which they are not allowing the systems and the rules that are set to govern them to work. The same legislature don't follow anything. Look, these guys, they need to dissolve the whole legislature. I'm just telling you. A lot of countries have done this and it saved them a lot and it made things much easier. We are caught in this constant. What do these guys do? Nothing. They come there, they collect money, they pass bills for them to pass it, they put money in there, and that's just it. They really, you're not going to miss them. In fact, they're going to be like the illness that will be removed from Liberia, at least one of them, and you will see it will be different. Better look at how we design, on how we look at the different laws and stuff. Two things these guys do. I told you, they're not passing no new laws. They don't. Most of them, they can't even write or read. All they do, they vote on concession and pass bills. Or budget. That's it. These two things can be handled, or probably maybe based on some kind of a referendum. Because let it be one time. So what? You save all that money for election. You save all that money for phone card and for 3 years vehicles and all this stuff and all of the different perks. And you can take that and invest it into the country. You don't have to keep taking $40 million loan, $10 million loan, and all this stuff to do everything. These guys, look, it's going to lead to nothing. My gangster brother on here representing the government already said it. Yeke is not coming back. This is how they function. He's not coming back. The Supreme Court said have no moral ground. You already know Boaka government don't listen to them. So they're going to say something like what Mr. Morris said. They're going to delay all through, and he's going to be out of office, and he's not coming back. And like you said earlier, they're going to try to tie him up with somewhat treason. What is treasonable about what he said? Where is it in the Constitution that to make that statement is treason? Well, that is what we have.
Okay.
He didn't take actions to actually aid the aggressor or the enemy, so I don't think it rise to treason.
Douglas, here we are. The United States is at war with Iran, and we are having Americans that are telling the president, "You are wrong. You are going to war." They said some of the most grievous things to the president. The president of this republic have not issued any warrant or told the court or the FBI say arrest those people who are, some say, rooting against us or rooting for the enemy, because that's what some people are saying. They are actually rooting and cheering for Iran against the president. Some of them want this operation to fail. Compare that to someone who is saying, I look at the map that was published by France, 1907, 1927. The map clearly says 27 miles across the border. When you show the map, you will see it clearly. And as we speak, the Guinean army, they are in Lofa. They have set up, revenue authority. They will be collecting taxes. Nobody is addressing this. Instead, they are deflecting. As we speak, they have put out a warrant for the arrest of the Spoon reporter who went there 2 or 3 days ago to show that the entire border is empty. There's no activities going on.
Are you asking a question?
No. So
you asking that question or you're spinning?
Mr. Ducle, this is where we are. The Supreme Court makes a ruling. The executive, it is their job to enforce the law. They have refused to enforce the law. So here we are. This legislative body says we are separate and co-equal. Nobody can tell us what to do. The executive say, I am not part of the legislature, so I can't enforce the rule. So where are we going?
Well, I like the fact that it's been, the whole charade is being characterized as gangsterism. The way the gangsters, the mobs functions. I mean, it's clear to me, if we should follow our laws, you don't even have to be a lawyer to see that the Supreme Court should easily reverse this whole shenanigan that started in the House there. Again, nobody, even on this panel, nobody can clearly articulate what was the offense, what crime did this gentleman commit? What was it that he did that was against the Constitution? What was it that he said? I mean, listen, just because he's a just because he is a legislator, that doesn't strip him of his right of freedom of speech. He can say anything he wants within the confines of the law for everybody. I mean, just like anybody else. Just because he's a sitting legislator, I mean, so what? If he said the land belonged to Guinea, so what? Does that mean because he has said it, the land is going to go to Guinea? I mean, I mean, sometimes I always wonder whether these guys in the House, whether some of them actually can read to grade 12 level.
Nope.
Because it's very troubling. It's very troubling. The language in the Constitution is so simple, black and white. Are they doing it because this is what they want to do? So they will ignore what the Constitution says and then just carry on whatever it is that they want to do? I mean, this is embarrassing to our nation, my people. Again, remember, and you should always go back to the fact that this gentleman represents people from district number 10. You are now disenfranchising those people by illegally removing him. So again, like I said, I mean, my read is if we should follow our laws as they are written, the Supreme Court will easily reverse this nonsense that started in the House.
But Duque,
what
happens if the Supreme Court says it is reversed and they do what it did to Fernando Kofat, saying we are not going to listen to you because we are co-equal branch. We are back to square one.
Yeah, again, you know, like I started earlier when I spoke about how they illegally removed Kabina Jane. Kabina Jane went to the ECOWAS. His right was, it was the ECOWAS court rule against the Republic of Liberia, and it was just so again. I wouldn't be surprised that because the ruling goes against them, they are not, even though the ruling will be binding. I mean, again, if somebody just said you have gangster mentality, what do you expect? I mean, again, it just speaks to how far we have come and how we ourselves are destroying our country in a way that the ramifications is going to go far beyond 2029, and you know, so again, I wouldn't be surprised, Mr. Gaiman, because we've seen it before in the past where the court ruled and people said no, we're not going to do what the court have asked us to do. So I wouldn't be surprised. But as we always claim to be,
I'm on one man standing. Let me come in now.
No, you gotta wait for your turn.
Mr. Kamal, let me respond. Let me respond to
the. I always speak after Duke. What
get land.
But let me finish my thought.
Remember the man.
Go ahead, land.
You know, again, so Mr. Gaiman, if the Supreme Court ruled that they should reverse course and they refuse, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, because that wouldn't be the first time that they've done that. But again, like I said, I'm pretty sure that this is something that will be easily reversed by the Supreme Court. Now, whether or not they will follow, as we all know, the rulings of the Supreme Court is always binding. But I mean, again, we are talking about Republic of Liberia 2026, where you have a bunch of people, buffoons that are masquerading as legislators who have absolutely no clue about what legislators are supposed to be doing. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
No, it's not doing my turn.
No.
You see? Okay, go ahead.
Let's look at.
You gotta put the gangster attitude. When it is your time, they'll call you. That's how we have a money.
No, it is my time. They finish giving you the play.
Let's look at two things here.
As you're introducing Vanny, I think Vanny is in the back.
I'm looking at. He's not there.
Yeah, I don't see him too. But okay, all right, go ahead.
We have the president who has refused The only body in the republic that has the enforcing power is the executive, the president. The president is saying that he's not going to follow the laws.
Oh,
So what remedy does anybody have if the Supreme Court rules and the executive that's supposed to enforce the rule decides not to enforce the rule? What other remedy do we have or anybody has? Because Fonati Kofa had no remedy. All the folks from LTA that were removed, the bank governor that were removed, the Supreme Court rules that these actions were illegal, and the executive decided they were not going to follow the Supreme Court. The president said it, even though the Supreme Court had ruled, but I'm going to side with the majority. So where do we go from here?
Well, yeah, if the Supreme Court is ignored, there's pretty much nowhere else we can go. Even the ECOWAS code, you bring them in, they will ignore them. But I think what is happening is, this is a continuous weakening of this government. This will be another black mark, that will chalk up against them as we go towards 2029. I think a lot of people now have seen this for what it is. This is a raw consolidation power grab that these people are on here. We've all recognized it for what it is. They own the judiciary now. We know that. They pick a fight even before Sienna you left with the judiciary, but they own the judiciary. Bese Yami is doing the bidding. They own the legislature. Regime speaker is all over the place. He's doing it every day. We see how that's happening. They own the elections commission. They intimidated Devetta Brown, shook her up to the point where she quit prior to her tenure expiring. So we know all that they're doing, and we're going to call them out for what it is, but we're also preparing. We're not going to take this hands lying down and let them steal the election, because that is their final objective. They know they are so unpopular now that people will not elect them, and they know that. So they're doing everything possible to steal the election, and we know that. We're also preparing for that. But yeah, if they refuse to reverse this illegal removal again of another lawmaker, in the person of Yeka Kaluba, I think they just continue to pile up their negative rating, continue to weaken the credibility with the people, and the people are going to remember in 2029. But notwithstanding that, we are not just going to give it to them as another easy win for them. I'm sure Yeke is going to come back, and I'm sure the opposition will line up behind Yeke. We're giving the support necessary. We think this is not about Yeke. This is about defending the final frontier. These people have knocked down pretty much every barrier there is that could stop them from cheating, and we know that they are planning to cheat. They are planning to cheat. They are doing it bold-facedly. They're not disguising it anymore. That's what this is. And so we'll continue to educate our people and get them ready as we head towards 2029.
Great. Let me welcome Mr. Mame. Mame, welcome to the show.
Can we go Mame again?
I appreciate it.
Great. Mame, you just came in, so we will start with you. Then we get a chance, then we'll go back to our regular. I'm sure you've been following. Let's start with the reaction after the illegal removal of Yeke Kaluba. The CDC and the CMC took action by suspending and expelling members that voted against the will of the party. CDC expelled 6 of their members. CMC suspended 1 of their members. And through that, we talk about the political maneuvering, especially with CMC, by suspending a man that I would have supported to be expelled. Instead, they tried to do something to massage and lessen the blow, and they suspended, and the gentleman came back and bit them or bit us in the behind by saying, you can't suspend me, I quit. And now here we are. Talk to us about the whole saga and the aftermath.
All right. Thank you very much. First of all, let me just say it unequivocally and categorically that our government is in violation of our constitution. The president, from the president to the speaker, all of them, to all of the lawmakers who signed that petition or who signed that resolution, that janjaweed, that kangaroo process, they are in violation of our constitution. And most of them, they don't even know that they are the one committing treason for undermining our constitution. You understand? So, and I see my brother laughing. Aliyu is laughing. This is not a funny matter. This is not a joking matter. This is taking our country back to the dark days. These are the reasons why Liberia experienced the dark days, taking away of the rights of the Liberian people, abrogation of the constitution, creating martial laws. This is martial law in disguise, disrespect for the Supreme Court, pissing on the constitution. In fact, the speaker is even ejaculating on the constitution. This is a man who is walking with his zipper down. You understand? And so when you see these kind of things happening, you have to be afraid. So Yeke, there are some things that Yeke has done. And I'm not talking about literally, I'm talking about figuratively. He's ejaculating on the constitution. But let me go to the point where Yeke was illegally and unconstitutionally removed. This is a travesty of justice. Even in the face of the Supreme Court sending a notice saying, let there be an injunction on all of your activity till we can hear from you guys on Monday. They went ahead, ignored it, and carry on. And the president is in support of it. This is not going to end well. And maybe they're trying to think that they can just bamboozle their way to 2029. It's not going to happen. It's not. Everybody who is doing this is going to face the full weight of the Liberian people. And everything they're doing is going to come back to bite each and every one of them, including the surrogates of the regime, including the paid propagandists of the regime. So
that's okay to you, Mr. Kamar.
Few weeks from now, we'll be establishing what is called a Bring Back the Yeke campaign. We're going to fund it, not because we like this approach. I despise this approach. But the Constitution in Article 2 gives, in Article 14 and 15 give people the right to freedom of expression. And that right cannot be curtailed unless in a state of emergency. We have a border crisis. The president, the speaker, and all of the members of the House, most of them, they put their tail between their legs like a KK dog, escape the border. They're not even able to expel the ambassador of Guinea, who is still residing in Monrovia. They're not even able to take any diplomatic action to show that their border is being aggressively taken by a foreign country. Yet, they go and muster 49 votes after receiving brown weighted envelopes to remove a legitimately elected representative. That is the travesty. That is what is called march. We can describe this as a jungle justice. So for me, I'm saying we have a remedy. We will support Yeke. We will fund his campaign. If they don't delay it by carrying him to court and drag it for many, many months, we are prepared within 90, because there's a law. Within 30 days, they're supposed to announce vacancy. After the vacancy, within 60 days or 90 days, there's supposed to be an election. And that election, we are going to fund it. We're going to promote it. We are going to ensure that Yeke returns to the House. And Yeke will continue to be vocal. With respect to the expulsion of those people from CDC, I support it. Hats off to CDC for their resilience and their courage. And to CMC, maybe because the guy, that's his first time, but it doesn't matter. If they suspended him and he walked away, that's fine. A day will come, a day of reckoning will come for him. He's not going to stay in our house after 2029. So let him enjoy what he got to enjoy. I got
a question for you, Mr. Bonnie.
Yeah.
if the government refuses, right? If let's say the Supreme Court actually reversed this ruling and rules in Yeka's favor, and the House refused to acknowledge it because they think that they are equal to the Supreme Court and not subordinate to their rulings, would you then, whatever organization you represent, lobby this U.S. government, to try to intervene or sanction, the Liberian parliamentarians or the Speaker of the House?
We have many tools within our toolbox for which we cannot reveal all right here, right now. As I speak to you, the President of the Republic of Liberia is coming to America in Sacramento, in my backyard, to come and receive a bought and paid for peace award. We don't want to say what we're going to do, but it's going to meet some resistance. More than that, we're going to lobby our lawmakers, both in California and in Washington, D.C., to ensure that these behaviors, by this Janjaweed behavior of the regime, can come to a stop by some sanctions. And you understand? And we're going to be taking legal action, like the Student Unification Party had their right to protest. What did they do wrong? They went peacefully, and the police violated their human rights, and they can go to court and sue the police for violating their rights to peaceful protest, and they will win the case. And that is a process I'm willing to support, financially, morally, and whatever means necessary. So there are a lot of tools within our toolbox that we cannot reveal here. And the president coming to Sacramento, and he coming to receive peace award.
Don't be making threats.
It is within our right to protest. It is in our right to write the university and tell them, outline all of these violations and give them reason why he cannot receive an award. They should reverse that decision, or posterity will judge them.
Thank you. Let me go to Aliu Kamara.
Am I not going to go today?
Oh, yo, people that have been
okay, let me go. Let me go, Mr. Booty, Dr. Booty.
No, Mr. Gary, don't do that.
What?
Alita.
Oh, Alita. Oh, Aliu. I didn't see him on the screen. I didn't see him.
It's all right. It's all right. These are the.
Aliu,
I already got a question.
Listen.
I already got a question.
No, you didn't. You don't have the question. Don't tell me. Listen,
Okay.
This is what in philosophy we call divining thought. You cannot.
Stop it.
No, but you're not asking me. You say I know the question. How you know? Are you channeling me? I know my.
You see, now you come to get me hard. Hold on, book and talk freely. Again, let me talk freely. Let me get me hard on with sociology and psychology. Listen, let me tell you something.
No, listen,
okay, go ahead.
Let me ask you the question. You can't tell me what you got.
All right, go ahead.
Listen,
okay.
There was another gentleman by the name of Abu Kamara that made a comment here maybe in January. He says we have a plan. He said we have wrestled the Senate from the opposition. We will wrestle the House.
I don't believe that. I don't believe anybody wrote that. You're making it up.
Listen. He says we will wrestle the House away from the opposition. He says we are going to control the Elections Commission. We are going to have a new. He said in 20. Listen. He said in 2028.
Let me talk about you now.
Listen. He said in 2028, Joseph Walker will be the third president to appoint all 5 justices, including a new chief justice. He says there's no path to winning from the opposition. That's why he said it looks like he really been right.
Thank you for revealing that. But here is what I have to say. The young man come out here and say I'm laughing in a serious matter, and he's making me laugh. He's saying all kind of things. The government, people running Liberia, is not about youthful, exuberant, or some kind of people, having a lot of the emotion out of control. Your emotion out of control will give you the time to check yourself and put your emotion under control. We're not responsible for how you feel. We only do what is supposed to be done. These are the tolerant people on here. I call me small, so just because I view different from them. They call me gangster. The other message the whole heart don't know how to read and write. These are tolerant people speaking. But we who are not tolerant, we will sit down and we'll continue to follow the book. throw the books at us if you believe that we are doing something illegal. Joseph Newman Booker is not the Speaker of the House. He's not the Deputy Speaker of the House. You people can include him into your thing all you want. We just look at the whole thing as a complete caricature. The process in the House of Legislature will go on without the interference of Joseph Newman Booker, no matter how many names you call him. No lawmaker should be in the House there getting paid, receiving luxurious vehicle of any standard anywhere in the world in every 3 years, yet has nothing to contribute but insult and all kinds of nonsense he's doing around. Okay, some people here say they already see my mind. They psychoanalyze me, everything. They call me anything in the book, but no problem. Now, what I will tell you here is simple. You can go write letter to the university of where you want to go write. Joseph Booker will go over there, receive his award. He will be honored regardless of how you feel. How you feel, we respect it, but we don't have control over it. If everybody sitting on here know the law, more than all of the lawmakers, by Dukley, just look at all of them and say they can't read and write. That's fine. If you know so much about all of them, we say, bravo, thank you for being so educated. What we will tell you is we will follow the rules. They will follow the rules in the House. They will implement the rules in the House. If the Supreme Court have any issue with them, the Supreme Court will pick up that issue with them. So I hear what you say. Coming rebel, coming small, so I can tell you the decision has been made, and you have your right to speak. Speak because you're a free agent. You're just a less inclusive way. You're not there's nothing to hold you back. You're free. But I bet you go work in that legislature and talk any kind of way you want to talk moving forward. I will not waste your time. I won't listen to your music and call me anything you want to call me. But I know everything is already on track. Your guy is gone again. Hala Ode gone.
Daddy, you are not. Listen, you are not a smaller soldier. You are the only small soldier. Dr. Booty during the time when they had 7, 8-year-old, they were 21 already. So he was the oldest small soldier in that group. Dr. Booty. So here we are. We are talking about law and order. The president made it clear he is not a member of the House, even though he's the executive, the law enforcement arm of the nation. He says he's not a member of the legislature, so whatever happens in his legislature, he has nothing to do with it. I was shocked to have heard the president say that.
Well, there are a few things I'm going to say, and I'll try and do it quickly because I know other people want to speak. I think, first of all, listening to my brother Ali, I'm shocked. But then I'm not shocked at the same time.
That's all right.
I think the key thing you take from what he said there is we don't care.
Yep.
Right? It tells me everything I need to know. It doesn't matter whether what we're doing is right or wrong. We don't care. Right? And that for me, and I remember my brother Elvis many months ago mentioned that, look, the young people in Liberia need to stand up for themselves. The Liberian people need to stand up for themselves. They need to speak out for themselves. And unfortunately, these guys recognize that the people in Liberia don't really have the appetite to stand up for themselves, to challenge them, so that they'll do it. And like Ali would say, we don't care. Yeah, let 600 or 700 children die over the next month from treatable illnesses in hospitals. We don't care. We'll spend money on re-electing someone when that money could go towards saving lives, right? We don't care. Yes, the president will spend over $1 million or so to travel with a huge entourage to California or wherever he's going to go receive some. I got to be careful the words I use, but to receive some award that means nothing to nobody. And when that money could be used for healthcare or for producing food to feed people that are starving, we don't care. So that just take that away, right? And Mr. Kamara says something about, the legislature has its rules, right? Article 2 of our Constitution says, any treaty, any rule, any law that is inconsistent with the Constitution is void, right? It doesn't matter whether you say you can make your law, your rule, but if that rule is inconsistent with this Constitution, which is the due process that Mr. Nangbe talked about, every human being is entitled to due process in our Constitution. If the rule does not allow the person to have due process, that rule is void. Nobody would listen to it, right? And it is upon the executive to enforce that. They are the enforcement arm of the government, right? Legislators make law, judiciary interprets the law, the executive enforce the law. The executive is basically supposed to provide Yeke Koluba with security officers to escort him to his office to take his seat. Because at the end of the day, that is their job. Now, we all know from living in Liberia and being Liberians that the president of the republic has his hand or her hands in everything. So the president coming out and saying, "Oh, I'm not part of the legislature," we know that these things have been orchestrated behind the scenes. So nobody's stupid here, like the Liberian folk can say. We know what's going on. We know he orchestrated the removal of Fonati Kofa. He invited Kofa to his house many times to try and convince him to go Fonati too high, with the cool people. So then in the end, they just did it the way they did it, right? So we know, right? You can't sit there and tell me that the president don't have his hand. Two more things I want to say, Mr. Game, and then I'll pass it on. Article 30, as I've read it now, states the qualification of any Liberian to become a legislator, right? There are two qualifications. One for representative, you must be 25-year-old. And then the second one, I think you have to be living in your district for at least 1 year. I searched, I didn't see anything about felony there that, if you have a felony, you can run. I see it. If it's there, then I don't see it in the Constitution I'm reading, right? There's nothing in our Constitution that says if Fidel Bude is a felon, he can't run to be a representative. It's not there in our Constitution. What I've just read is not there. So even if Yeke Koluba becomes a felon, he can still run for that seat. Unfortunately, like Mr. Mame said, they might try to drag the trial in a way, but why the trial go on, he can be running and he can win his seat and then be sitting there while they be carrying on the trial, because there's nothing in the Constitution that
They can also refuse to see him.
No, but that would be the kangaroo action and stuff. We're talking about legal. We're going by the law now. We're not talking about what their actions will be.
Not
We're
small
focusing on
soldiers
what
stuff
he's
will go
allowed
back.
to do. What is he allowed to do under the law? Now, I encourage all of you to read Article 76, because that's where the definition of treason under our Constitution is provided. There are 5 things that I say. I'm not going to read it. I encourage people who are listening and on the panel to read it yourself. Nothing that Yeke Koluba said. Liberia is not at war with Guinea, right? So you have to support a country that we're at war with. Liberia is not at war with Guinea, right? So there is nothing that he said that falls under those 5 definitions as per our Constitution, right? So he is not treasonous. He said nothing treasonous. This whole nonsense of treason, again, it goes back to the same, and sometimes it's good to listen to people. It goes back to that same thing, and that's where I will end. We don't care.
Thank you. Let me go to Morris here. Morris, we are talking about the rule of law. We are talking about election 2029. You go to election 2029, the votes come out, the president declares himself the winner. You say, okay, I'm going to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court rules. The executive say we are separate and co-equal branches of government. You can't tell us what to do, as they have done. When he says, I would rather side with the with the majority. What else can you do? Dr. Booty said Liberian people need to stand up for themselves. And I will show you this. When Soup and the Liberian people stood up for themselves, this is what happened to them. The police brutally, it says here, police face criticism over excessive force as tear gas, tension erupted in Monrovia, student protests for job and justice. They were brutalized. This is what we are talking about when we say that people should stand up, and then when they go stand up, they do just like Iran. They kill, they brutalize. And if the Supreme Court rules and the president say, listen, we are co-equal branches, I cannot get involved, where do we go?
Yeah, thanks again, man. Look, I think the paramount duty and responsibility of a lawman is upholding the oath of office. And most oaths of office, if not all, talks about protecting and upholding the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. So if a lawmaker or president in this case, like you're proposing, goes against contravenes, his action contravenes what is said in the Constitution, that is the close, dereliction of his duty to uphold the Constitution, because the Constitution says that, for example, the Supreme Court have the right or the ability to interpret the law, and they're the final order of justice in our country. So if President Walker and his, administration came up with that nation, it would be a spit in the face to our Constitution. And I don't think he would do that. It's just the lawmakers in the House, the regime speaker, the guy who is so desperate for power, who on any level is not on the level of a Fanati Kofa. So he can win the election by persuasion, can win the election by intellect. He has to go and strong arm away from him, and the president sits back supinely, and he pretty much acquiesces to whatever this guy is doing in the House. I think the executive has had some actions that is deplorable, but I think the most egregious action is happening in the House. The fact that they are putting themselves on equal footing with the court or the Supreme Court when it comes to interpretation of the law is egregious. It's a spit in a I'll use that word. It's a disrespect to our Constitution. So I don't think the president in his wisdom will go that same route by saying that they are equal branch of government, and as such, they also have the right to interpret the Constitution as they see fit, right? The Supreme Court. I don't think he will go that route. But let me be honest with you, right?
Let me push back. He just did it. The Supreme Court ruled
No,
that what happened in the House was auto of arrest, right? Which is, it was illegal. It shouldn't be done. And he decided to go with the illegal position of the House. So how can you say he would not disobey the
No, he didn't say that they're co-equal branch. He didn't put himself on the same footing as the Supreme Court judgment.
He said he will go. In fact, it is the executive that rewrote that wrote their own decision that overrode the position of the Supreme Court when the Justice Minister said that what the Supreme Court said was not final. That's Honor Joseph Walker. That's the executive. The Justice Minister.
You posed a hypothetical question. In that question, you said that what if Joseph Boyd said he would not respect, the co-equal branch of government? When you made that statement, that's what I'm responding.
We have a precedent twice. The Supreme Court ruled actually 3 times against them for the removal of the central bank governor. They did. The LTA guys, they ruled against them. They did. Then the Supreme Court ruled against the House, and he did. So we got precedent. That's what I'm talking about. It's not hypothetical.
Yeah, action, but I was saying that they're co-equal branches, right? My point here is that the president, through his previous actions, has shown that he always finds a way, by any means necessary, to get the ultimate outcome that he wants. If he gets stopped by the Supreme Court, what he does, he suspends the person, and then through negotiation behind the scenes, he deflate the person's ability to want to continue. He settles them in the back, and that person leaves that job. They never come back, never get reinstated. He gets his ultimate, the outcome that he wanted ultimately. So for me, at this point, look, that's why you see I've taken a step back, because the fire that I had before about Liberia and politics, it's just like, is it worth it? You ask yourself, is it really worth it? You got all the things happening in this country that we pay taxes here. Is it worth stressing yourself out at such a reasonably young age, on Liberian politics? Is it worth it? For me, I say, I love my country, but I got other stressful things in my life that I have to worry about. I can't beat myself, over the head about Liberian business. So I think what's going on in the country, the reality is that I get on different platforms, other platforms, whether it's African American platforms or African Center platform, and I talk to young people around my age or even younger. And one of the sentiments that's going on in the continent, people from Africa, is that who needs democracy? What has democracy ever done for Africa? Matter of fact, they use it as a tool to oppress and suppress people in Africa. So young people more and more now are going away from the idea of democracy, and I'm the one that beating my chest, being proud of Liberia that we've had multiple successive, peaceful transition of power. We're a democratic country. We saw coups, can turn into, and we saw war. And as such, we don't support coup leaders. We don't support genocide. And I pride myself on my chest about my country. What is democracy if the people who are democratically elected don't respect the process, don't respect the Constitution? Like what was in Benin with Patrick Talon, what he did, he used the courts to pretty much disenfranchised the opposition and won election, for his party on the landslide, ostracizing and alienating any opposition from contesting that election. We seen little drips that something like that will happen in our next election, where our president, who was democratically elected and the former president graciously conceded, is putting things in place and setting little breadcrumbs to show you that next election may be very well contested, and the opposition have had little options to really give him a viable, opposition. So for me, I just look at it like our democracy is dying, and when these things happen, we either get a coup or we go back to war. Democracy is better than war. If you practice it right, everybody will respect the rule, and the Constitution will be the supreme, law of the land. Our president Boyka is pretty much the opposite. And I hate to say it, I hate to be myself to be really fiery on this issue, but really I'm just internally disappointed. Eternally looking at it like this is a slippery slope. Because we had a lot of inefficiencies, but one thing I would give you was a Democrat. He lost a lot of election while sitting as president. CDC Kennedy lost a lot of election and conceded. He himself lost and he conceded. President Boyka, I'm not so sure he would be sitting and lose an election. I'm not sure about that. So I'm worried about our country, Mr. Gavin.
Mr. Gavin, you said this president came about during Tubman time. So it's the Tubman mentality that he's bringing back in the one-party system.
That's correct. Let me go to Taiwo. We got 20 minutes here to go, so we want to make it 2 minutes each. Like I say, we are all product of our environment, of our making. Joseph Boyka was born during the Barclay time. He grew up in Barclay, Tubman, Talbot. He worked in Tubman government, worked in Talbot government, worked in Doe government, worked in Ellen government. He worked everywhere. So he's a product of his time during the Talbot and Tubman time. This is how you deal with dissent. You ban them, and if they talk like they did in Colma, you murder some of them, like they did in King Jaw. And there's nothing anyone can do.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jotao.
Who called my name?
All right, go ahead.
The small soldier? No, but actually, look, to all of the audiences, I'm actually just joking. I don't know Valley to be a small soldier or anything. I think he's a decent guy. He just
even if you're serious, no problem. Just go ahead. Don't bother.
Oh, come on! Don't interrupt the man.
Yeah, he just zealous in support.
Wear your title with pride.
You know, I had a man feed him, Mr. Tom.
Yeah, wear your title with pride. Small soldier, wear your title with pride.
You see, there is something that we are seeing here that which we always knew. When I first came here a couple of years ago, I told you that it was even going to get worse, right? That from George Weah, it was going to get worse. And it's not because I'm some kind of soothsayer or I know something, but the democratic system that is given to Africa, that is how it's designed to work. Go and look. Just about almost every president is worse than the previous one, just like that. And it go towards decay in something in a thermodynamic they call entropy. It move towards entropy, like it just break down. And that is the trend that we've been on. And Mr. Morris, those young people, they are not wrong. The democracy that is designed and given to us was never intended to work. Or people who enslave you, or people who intend on keeping you in a certain position so that they can plunder you, would never give you a system that was designed to work for you. You can see that it was intended for that they protect it, they champion it. The U.S. will impose sanction, Britain, France will impose sanction about somebody not practicing the democratic process, but they never impose sanction if you don't develop industries, if you don't refine your resources. These things that are very important, but because it's the resources that they want. See where they were impose sanction on any government that did not build the electric grid, that did not provide health care for their people, No. So you see, they turn it upside down. They work with order. In fact, if you are not corrupt, you get removed, or you get labeled, or you get threatened, you get harassed. You must be corrupt. Because they lie to us that we are poor. And we accept it because it's a mindset. How come you're poor, but everything they need for them to live is in your country? They tell you that they're so wealthy and they're blessed, but their blessing is in your country, that they have to just walk there and take it. Like we're seeing now with the Iran war. We've seen it all over Africa. So the democracy stuff is a sham. They didn't say they admitted it. No country developed in this world using this model of democracy that they're giving you. The United States did not arrive at the level using the democracy. You have to be a single-minded, one-party movement with people that are nationalistic. You see China rising. At some point, when they actually consolidate, you will see themselves probably sinking the song. The British did not get wealthy and get strong using the model of democracy. It is after they made it. No, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming.
One minute, guys. I have an emergency. Victor, can you please take over? I have to leave.
Yeah, no worries.
I am big trouble now.
I hope I didn't call you.
Real trouble.
Yeah. The Gestapo, according to Samuel Jackson,
the last comment that Valley made, that was his closing for the day.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taiwo.
Yeah. So
use him as well.
None of these countries rose to be strong based on any democracy. Go and look. And the democracy that they have, the Americans, they don't have democracy. None of them. They pretend to practice it when you don't have competition. When you have actual competition, because the democratic system is very porous, it is weak at the center, it is corrupt, and it can be easily manipulated if you have actual competition. Now that they have actual competition, you see all of them trying to reverse it. You see them all trying to reverse it. They're even questioning. They themselves, they say democracy is part of the post-World War II infrastructure that they built, by the way. The capitalism that you see, the democracy, the human rights, these were all part of the post-World War II models and stuff, that institution that they built, so they can use it to strangulate you, restrict you, so that they force you into something that can work, and then they manage you. As this particular time is coming to an end, the institutions are dying. The UN, you see, it will be gone. They're now turning around and they're trying to reverse it. They don't say they're not late because they know it's very difficult to do. They're supposed to, before you deport somebody, you're supposed to go through your court system. You see them doing that? We are here, we are watching it, because they're trying to consolidate for the whites. As things get tough, they're securing the whites in this country first to be able to hold on to stuff. They don't care about everybody else. So they're deporting. When you're supposed trying to import tariffs so you can generate money for your billionaire friend, you're supposed to go through the court. You see them doing it, so you can see the British, the French, the German, they all are questioning. From your hometown, your prime minister. You listen to the speech that he gave at Davos.
I ain't got prime minister.
Yeah, he said, no, okay, he's not prime minister. I'm talking about Canada.
No, you said my hometown. I said my place I'm living.
I was talking about Brother Dukley. He said, he said the rule-based system and the Western, he says dead. He said we always knew that it was a lie, that it was a sham. But we pretended because it benefited us. That is why we all follow it, because it didn't apply to them. But he said now that it has failed, we don't want to be part of it anymore, because we knew it couldn't work in a way, that it was never meant to work, that it was false, that it was fake. The whole international order. So democracy is one of those. Why are we holding on to these things? This is the time when the world order is changing, that Africa is supposed to be asking the question internally, how can we put things together to govern ourselves better instead of holding on to? So all the democratic stuff, look at the confusion that we are having in Liberia. It's one argument and stop bickering one after another. Does it help? Does it really matter what form of government you have, why you name it, as long as the government can feed the people and run the country to where people have the hope and aspiration to have or upward mobility. That is what you're looking for. Are you going to say that our so-called democracy is better than what China have? Would you want to have the kind of stuff that China have right now, where you are developing your country, where you're investing to the people, where people are getting educated? Will it really matter whether it's called democracy or not? So we are caught up, the force into the terms, and let us try to do some thinking, guys, of people who enslave you, who did all the study, cannot give you something that was intended to work for you. Everybody else understand this, but for some reason, it's so difficult for Africans to see this, and when all the proof is right there, we fight it. And I discussed this stuff with white people at every level. I've gone to major conferences, and we discuss this. They don't fight, they understand it, but they know that they're seeking an interest. But when I come to my fellow African, the moment you mention it, you get attacked. Because we base our entire value and our self-worth on these things. So the question, want to take it down, we think that then we're going to be losing something. No, we're not going to be losing anything. In fact, we gain more. So let us, on the panels and everywhere else, let us try to look, please.
Thank you, Jotao. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, we have about 6 minutes left on the clock. We're going to go around and do our closing. I'd like to start with Dr. Booty because of the time difference. So 1 minute, please. Each of us, 1 minute. Dr. Booty, your 1 minute starts.
Thank you very much. It's been a great show. It's great to see you, Mr. Mami. I support your effort in Sacramento. I hope it comes to fruition. We will share it, so let us know. And the Bring Back Yeke campaign, please include me in that. And we will try and mobilize as best as possible for the rule of law. I think my main takeaway here is very simple. Mr. Kamara has made it very clear, and some of us already knew it, but he's made it clear to us today that this government doesn't care about the Liberian people. It cares about itself. And if the Liberian people don't listen to that and take it seriously, it will be to their own detriment.
Thank you very much, Dr. Booty, for being so kind as to keep it on a 1 minute. I'm assuming you're done, Dr. Booty?
Oh, I'm done.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate your input today. We'll go to Mame.
Yeah, thank you very much. For our generation, I don't know why people would think that we are exuberant or we are sentimental. The fact is, our generation was marginalized, and our generation were economically and politically disenfranchised. And up to this day, we continue to suffer as a generation. It's no joke. All through our lifetime, we have not seen anything that benefited our generation and the Republic of Liberia in general. Coming out of a man who is half the age of the Republic, Joseph Boakai, with 40-some more years of experience, who we thought would have done better than the George Weah he criticized. He is the one defecating and urinating on our Constitution today, without any recourse. The Supreme Court, he doesn't listen. The Constitution, he doesn't abide by anything in the Constitution. You have the Boima Famulas of the world. You have the Kofi Woods of the world. Disgrace upon them. They don't have anything to say. The Gafuans. Even the very vanguard Student Unification Party that used to have the freedom of movement, the freedom of expression.
Your time is up, Mr. Mame. Thank you very much. He muted himself. I had nothing to do with that. I will go to Mr. Dukley. You want me to begin?
Ali when he's speaking.
Mr. Dukley, your 1 minute.
Well, yeah, thank you to my fellow panelists. It was a really good show today. Mr. Nangbe, I think we should all continue to fight to see our country improve. And sometimes we might not see beyond what we do on these platforms, but I think they do have impact. And so we need to continue speaking. We need to continue holding people's feet to the fire whenever we feel that something wrong has been done. Because, this is not only for Unity Party government. We did the same thing when George Weah was there. And so I think we should continue to speak out whenever we feel there's something that is wrong. And, in a way, we will help to sensitize or, bring some awareness, how no matter how little it might be, but I think there is some value to what we do here, and we should continue to speak up whenever we can. And
Thank you,
so
brother.
we are going to continue to do what we are doing here. And so I just hope that this thing can catch on with any other well-meaning Liberian, as we've seen over the last couple of days.
Thank you, sir. We all hope so. Brother Tao, you'll go, and then Mr. Kamara will be the last.
Okay. Yeah, look, I'm glad to be here. We've been talking. We know that nothing is going to change, but there is one thing that I will say: that the conditions that led to the uprising, that led to the popular movement of the Backward Mafia and the group, the Progressive, people having no hope for them to actually have upward mobility, for them to be able to move up in society. That condition led to the rights riot and the coup. Those came to power, the same condition led to the war. Today, the same condition exists. This is not just Honor Boyka. It started Honor Ellen, it continued Honor Weah, and today it is the same Honor Boyka. And the worst part is that we have a huge group of young people that is a waiting army. I don't know if these guys really understand this.
Thank you, Mr. Tao. Thank you very much for your input today. Mr. Kamara, you're last. By the way, I'm pleased to let you all know that Jerome is okay. It was a pleasant family surprise. He's okay. Mr. Kamara, your 1 minute starts.
Okay,
Mr.
sir.
Kamara,
Thank you very much.
you're hoping something happened to Mr. Gamer.
So,
All right, Mr. Kamara, we'll reset your clock. Your 1 minute starts now.
okay. So thank God Almighty that we have a man like Joseph Nyuma Boakai, who is head of the Liberian government today. Liberia now can see the light. Liberia is shining everywhere. And we're proud of the work that he is doing. We didn't have too much input on the show today based on the topic because we understand the reality. We know that we are rightless seated. We know we're in the right. So we allow other people to go ahead and flip or flap their lips. But we know the decision that has been taken is the right decision, and it stand forever. Somebody talking about their generation. What about my generation? My generation had 2 government universities only, well, 2 government colleges, University of Liberia and Tubman in Maryland. Other than that, you had to come to Monrovia. Now you get community colleges in every county. So you got it made. You just don't know. You got it made. I used to walk 3 hours to go to school sometimes or so. You can. You get motorcycle to carry you in the villages. You have it made. Utilize it to the best of your ability. Again, thanks for having me. Focus on Liberia. I hope you bring some lawyers on here tonight. I will be watching. Bring some lawyers on here tonight to debate this issue, and you will know that I've always been right.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a great day. I say this whenever it is Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, it is on point. We come here and do our part. I have only 2 words to close out. Musa ability to the letter from Saglipir. Well, a few words. The majority of our people are forced to fast every day, while very few people feast every day. That's the essence of his letter from Saglipir. Well, thank you all very much. It's been great. We look forward to tomorrow and the week ahead. We'll see what happens to the Yeke case. We got our fingers crossed. Have a great weekend. Rest of the weekend.
We are